What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Volleyball Source podcast. It is Saturday, May 22nd. It's not often we do a show on the weekend. It's not often we do a show on Saturdays, but when you've got a guest as big as this one, Mr. Blair Bann, checking in from Team Canada training camp in Gatineau. Blair, how you doing?
We're doing well. That was a nice intro. I like that enthusiasm. Thanks a lot for that.
I mean, it's true, though. You know, there's not many people there be like, yeah, man, I want to do a podcast on Saturday at 5 p.m. And, usually I'd be like, hey, that's like my weekend. But when it's Blair Bann and the boys, like,
Volleyball Source is blowing up. Volleyball in Canada is going crazy. We're going off here for 3-4 months maybe, so we gotta give the people what they want.
Buddy, you guys are about to go on a ride. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be a tournament, like 30 straight days into VNL. I'm sure you'll have maybe a little bit of time off, another training camp, then the Olympics, and then you've got NORCECA championships to wrap everything up in the fall. But kind of here in the now, first of all, how are you, like, personally? How's the body feeling? How's the head feeling? I know you were injured a little bit during this year. How are you feeling kind of as things are picking up back with the Maple Volleys and the national team?
Yeah, being back has been great. I was able to get here kind of a lot earlier than some others. Just, I think the way the German league was set up, it was going to finish earlier than other leagues. So lost out in semifinals. Then, I was back home, tack on a 2-week quarantine, but I was back home early April and had a nice time to get to Gatineau and have a few weeks of prep here. I mean, and the last guy joined us, Stephen Marr, 2 days ago. So it's been a bit of a up and down for, it's not a typical summer where, okay, everyone shows up May 1st and we get going. It's been, 3 guys sprinkling in here, 3 guys sprinkling in there. But yeah, myself personally, I feel good. Had a calf injury mid-season in Germany, but came back strong in the second half and then had a good chance to get some rest before we get into this grueling summer of death, which will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it really kicks everything off with the most gnarliest of tournaments that we may have ever seen, with a schedule of 3 days on, 3 days off, basically for a month. But you mentioned kind of so guys at training camp so far and just in Gatineau have just kind of been trickling in, as you said.
Yeah, our first week was 4 of us, myself, Jordan Pereira, new libero, Gord Perrin, and Lucas Van Berkel. And we kind of, we did small reps, small stuff, getting into it. And then we didn't really get into some 6-on-6 stuff till about last week for about a week. So that's also everyone's coming off 2, maybe 3 weeks off. So, we started up slow. Some guys didn't have the luxury of starting up slow. They just get tossed into the fire right away. It's kind of the reality of the situation. Make the most of what we got. And yeah, we're packing our bags and we're hitting the road tomorrow.
Is that something that can be done with this team? Because other than you mentioned Jordan Pereira, he's the only really new addition to this team. Obviously, Danny and Eric, Danny Demianenko and Eric Lepke, they haven't really been around, but they've been around at various tournaments, so not complete newbies. But is that kind of the benefit of this team, is that, there's not much gelling that needs to be done. Obviously, like, you guys want to be together, you want to knock off the rust together, but, like, for all intents and purposes, this is the majority of the same team that you guys had in Vancouver in January of 2020.
Yeah, it's basically like just getting back together, fine tuning. And I mean, there's some growing pains just because we haven't played together for a while. And also we're coming off that rest, getting everyone ready physically. The first couple of weeks, it's like your main training before VNL, but maybe not everyone's in the shape to be training full right away. So yeah, just fine tuning, but we do have that luxury of, it's been the same group for a long time. Like you said, out of the 18, 19 guys who are coming, we've all played together other than Jordan, and what he's bringing, he's fitting in quite nicely right off the bat. So it's pretty good.
I mean, you already answered one of my questions. I was going to, it's interesting because obviously Stephen Marshall has always been the other libero for the past few years now, but with the retirement of Riley Barnes and Jason DeRocco, Marshall had to fill in on the left side. Kind of that, it's interesting to see because we haven't seen a new libero in there for a while. So I was kind of wondering how Pereira was doing. So to hear that he's doing good,
this guy is fast. This is the fast guy. I used to think I was fast, but this is a whole new level of fast. So yeah, he's doing really good. He's fitting in good.
You know what? Pereira was always a guy that every year I watched at Mac add layers to his game. And I was always kind of wondering if he had it to kind of make that next jump onto the national team level. So I was really excited just to see him on the roster, and it's good to hear that he's going to do well. And you guys are probably going to need him because you're probably not going to be too down to play 15 games in 30 days. So I'm sure he's going to be getting some minutes over the course of the VNL.
Yeah, he'll get tons of experience. I mean, like, even already, just since we've been playing 6-6, he's adding layers. It seems like he's getting better every day. He's a crazy defender. Like, that's like the first thing that pops off. And then he'll just get used to the speed that the rest of us are playing at or have been playing at for a little bit longer. But yeah, it'll be fun for him for sure.
Are you guys coming into VNL with any type of expectations, or is it more so of a, hey, let's use this time to knock the rust off, figure out our game again, and let's get ready for the Olympics?
I mean, it depends on who you talk to and if it's an interview or what it is. I'm sure the right way of saying it is like, yeah, of course the Olympics is the most important thing, but I think the team is going into it like, we want to make a statement. We want to bash some teams around. We want to kind of throw our weight around, and there was no competition last summer, so everyone's kind of itching to go. And I mean, we want to be in the finals of VNL 100%. Now what that looks like, because of, like you said, how the schedule is made, getting different guys in, getting different guys out, doesn't really matter. The expectation will still be there that that's what we want to do. Of course, it's gathering experience for sure, but I want to get in there and be like, whoa, what's going on in Canada here?
Do you feel that in the gym right now that you guys have that ability? Like, it seems to me that a lot of guys are healthy right now, and a lot of guys are feeling good, and a lot of guys, like, that roster has a lot of depth on it, and there's a lot of different looks that this team can give.
Yeah, the depth is huge, and you see it in every position. And now we'll go with a bigger group. We used to travel to VNL 14, switch guys in here and there, but now we're traveling with, again, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, but 18, 19 guys.
17, I think.
Yeah, you lose track, when you're dialed, but and all those guys can come in and contribute. And I think just with the year off, what guys have added to their game. So the last time we would have seen us is that qualifier, but we've had full pro seasons since then. And that's a lot of extra games for a lot of guys who are new to the teams. Like Show and Slater look good right now. The setters look good. Like the setters look good, and he just waltzes in like he owns the
place. What's up, Mr. Jay Blankenau? How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Congratulations on the new contract, heading to the Plus Liga.
Yeah, thanks.
Heading to the Champions League as well. That's both of you will be in Champions League next year.
Yeah, we better not.
Yeah, maybe we play each other.
Eh? that would be great. Like that would be awesome. Jay, you've played Champions League before. You've been to the dance before. Blair, I don't think you have.
Asterix volleyball source. Yes, I have with Chaumont.
Oh wait, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Quarterfinals. That not bad performance.
That's right. Jay, how you feeling? How's the body right now? I know you had a long season. You played a lot of minutes for Arcus.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel good actually. That like small COVID break actually helped me a lot. Put on like more muscle, and my stamina's up now, so I actually feel great.
Are you shaking your head there, Blair?
They look good. I was just saying the setters look good right before he came. He can watch that online later.
Yeah. How do you feel heading into this VNL? You feeling confident?
Yeah. I just kind of overheard Bann talking, but all the guys look like they've improved, so that's huge. All the spikers are stronger, so it's been nice as a setter to figure out their rhythm and make sure I'm getting them in flow. But yeah, like you said, the guys look good. We're confident. I think it's going to be pretty fun actually with the bubble set up, just like lather, rinse, repeat volleyball. Play a game, review it, see what we can do better, head back in, play another one, review it. Just like over and over, one-dimensional life.
It reminds me of like a Canada Games scenario, or like some old like provincial team training where you're just on the same site like the entire time with the boys hanging out. It seems like it's the perfect place to kind of fine tune your guys' game, especially after such a long hiatus? Like, it's been, a year and a half since you guys have been together and playing meaningful matches. So it's a perfect place to, like, just cook something up in the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll give us time to. I mean, we know each other great already, but like Jay was saying, like there's not going to be much else to do. There's going to be a lot of restrictions out there. It's not, hitting up another country and maybe have a free day to go explore. It's going to be a lot of hotel, and that'll take its toll too. But as long as we tackle it the right way and know what we want to do, it actually should help us.
You guys have been all together just like for so long as a group. Like, is that something that, like spending that much time together, like it doesn't even phase you anymore?
Yes and no. I mean, I already hate this guy. Been back for like 2 weeks. Get off me. No, but it's of course at the same time we know each other so well. Like a lot of us are best friends, but at the same time, like anyone, you spend too much time with them, it'll start to scratch. It'll get a little annoyed here and there. But
I think like the thing about knowing each other is you like know when the guy needs some space to just reset and like go solo for a bit or whatever. Like, I think that your recognition of that is better than maybe if you didn't know the guy as well. You would think like, oh, let's just spend a bunch of time together. It's gonna be sick. And one guy's like, no, I'd like a day where I don't have to look at you. That'd be great. So yeah, I don't know. I think we just know each other better, so we know how to handle it.
It sounds like you guys are in a good spot. I won't lie, I'm very stoked about what is happening in that gym right now. What do you like? Where do you guys think you rank heading in? So I did a podcast with 5-1 VB a few weeks ago, and he had you guys ranked at 10th, which I don't know. I think we could have got a little bit higher, but wasn't my rankings. Like, what do you think about that? Like,
I mean, it's a lot of good teams. Like to start with, like I mean, there's no easy games. It's like 16 really strong teams. But yeah, it's like you never, like if you get everyone on their best day, I don't know where you're going to rank, but you're going to have a lot of tough matches. And, I mean, we've been VNL, finals. We've been VNL middle of the pack before. It all depends too, like circumstantially who's going. But I mean, like we talked about our depth. I don't know if a lot of the teams have that same depth. Like a lot of those top teams that you historically think of, whenever you go USA or Poland or Brazil or something, like they have some depth, of course, but you see that first line a lot. So you start playing with that. Like if they want to run everyone like that, okay, be our guest. We'll see you at the games. But 10th, 5-1, come on, man. Right. But now we got to back it up. So
yeah, I think I'll answer this last question and I'll get on my way.
It's the Blair Bann show. Come on.
Yeah.
Just take my seat.
But I just think like when it's a tournament, you don't go there to do anything but win. So that's like the goal. It doesn't really matter who's ranked what. We're going there to like go on a run, improve our game, see what we can do. And we're trying to hunt down winning the tournament. That's the point of having a tournament. So I think
rankings are for podcast guys.
Yeah, if we're just like working with that mentality, then we end up where we end up. But our goal and our sights are on the top. If we want to do great things this summer, that has to be our mentality, I think. So
one last question before you go. You mentioned, the offense is feeling good right now. How confident does it make you as a setter? And how much, like, especially you, because you set so creatively, you like running the fast offense, you like running the boys on plays, you like getting into the offense this year. Like, what did you average this year at Arcus? Like 4 or 5 points a game? Like, it's just like there wasn't a game that you weren't on the score sheet.
Could be higher.
Yeah. Should be higher. But no, I'm really confident with the guys, and something that helps, like, you notice it when you come back from pro is just how easy the communication is with Canadian guys. And like guys, so it's pretty quick getting back on the horse and figuring out, okay, like this is how this guy likes to be set. This is how this guy likes to be set. This situation, that situation. So it comes together pretty quickly. And like one thing that stands out for me is middles, like playing with the middles here. Their window of spiking is big for me, my feeling, anyways. So that makes me confident in the offense that I can kind of just like fire a ball here or there, and I don't have to be like, oh, I got to pinpoint this thing. So that helps me as a setter. And then I mean, the outside spikers, they've come back with way more solutions, I think, than they had. Well, it's been 2 years basically. So, like seeing guys push tips, seeing guys like block press out, like all those kind of things that save a setter, it just makes me play freer because I'm not so concerned that this one's not going to work out, or it's not good, we're in trouble. So I think that just lends itself to the whole offense becoming, I don't know, more creative, faster. We can build on some things. We can run more like faster overloads and more pipe hopefully in the coming games. So yeah, I feel pretty confident with the guys.
Great. I'm stoked. Like we're what, like a few days out now. I think.
Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah.
Next Friday will be the first one.
So we're like 6 days out now, and then I mean, go hard, but also get some rest because this tournament is gnarly, and let's be honest, the big one is in August.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. Good to see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. Blair, you're just taking a beating over there.
I can take it.
Does this rivalry, like, did you guys play club against each other? I know you guys played university against each other. You at UBC, he was the University of Calgary.
I don't know, like we crossed paths a little bit. So he would have been in Park Volleyball Club, but he's a year younger. So maybe my U18, he's on a U17 team.
Okay.
We weren't all. I don't think he jumped up into playing against the U18 teams, but we would have been at those same kind of, like in Alberta, they're called premiers, and the club 17 and 18 would have been there. So yeah, we've known each other and playing provincial team together as well a couple of years back when we were in high school. So
it's been a while there. That's one thing that I think the Canadian national team has maybe over like anyone. Like that core group of guys that you guys have been running together for a long time.
Yeah, and like even if you just Jay, but you can put Graham, like Vigras, he's the same year younger in club. Gord, BC, you'd see him at nationals.
Yeah.
And all those guys who played junior teams. So like Jason, Rudy, guys who have stopped, Steve Marshall, we've all kind of seen each other, played each other. Team BC, Team Alberta, moving into university, and then.
That was like the OG junior team that really set things off, right? Because that team became like the core FTC guys and the core B team guys. Like you guys did Fishu games together. Like it was really a whole group of guys.
It was kind of like I don't know, you could call it like a golden year, like the 89s. They were like you said, junior to FTC B team, and then impact on the A team, like a big, 5, 6, 7 of them. So.
Yeah, that was really like the OG team. I mean, I've also talked about like the 91s team, and that one had Nick Hogue and Van Berkel and TJ Sanders and stuff like that. But your squad was really the OG squad. And
I wasn't with that one. I'm 88. I never played junior.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's crazy. It's still so crazy to me that
I'm hovering around. I know them, but I'm not there.
You're the old man on the roster still. That's crazy.
I mean, age is just a number, like probably acting the youngest. So
I mean, hey, you've still got that youthful exuberance. You still got the fire to play. Like you still have that go.
Yeah, it could have even blossomed a little bit. Like the year off last year, I think did a lot for people. Not that it was wearing on us, but
I've been getting that sense that like it kind of just let everyone relax a little bit.
Yeah.
That everyone got like a summer off. And let's be honest, I'm always questioning if like maybe the FIVB has like some insurance policies out on their players and they play them though so much that like they do get injured just because of like there's you guys literally go nonstop, right?
Yeah, like, if you did the math and counted the days, like it's weird to say like last year, whatever, we had 3 months off and you'd take care of your body and you'd do some other stuff or see family and everything, but organized national team volleyball basically, and it just like. I haven't done that for longer than basically 2 weeks since 2009 or something nuts, So I think it helped a lot of guys. Like if you had physical things you need to work on or rest or deficiencies, you got to go. And if you straight up needed a break, boom, available. And then if you came, like, then, you can see it now that guys haven't been with the national team for a full summer. That fire is there. It's high.
it must be kind of nice to be kind of back together after all that time, like kind of almost like it's brand new again.
Yeah, I think you saw that too, just with the way it happened with different guys getting back to Canada and having to quarantine. It was like, all right, now he's back. All right, now he's back. And, it wasn't kind of just like first meeting. Hey guys, good to see you. Good to see you. We get it going. It was, new guy coming in every second day, kind of added a little bit of that pop to the group. And yeah, it's been fun actually. The whole, like it normally is fun, but this one was, a little different, and that gave it a little extra stimulation.
That gives me a good feeling for this VNL. Not only this VNL, but this entire year, because it's gonna be a good bit of a gauntlet. So I mean, it's gonna be important that you guys are getting along together as a group.
Yeah, I think we're on the road here for literally 3 months. So
that's
I don't think we're coming back.
That's pretty gnarly. There is one guy that isn't going to be around, especially Jason DeRocco has been on the roster for as long as I can remember. He wasn't a guy that necessarily got a lot of minutes, but I always thought he was such an important glue guy to have around the team. How much are you going to miss Jay this year?
I think right now, like, you do notice that he's not there. Like, obviously we all know him, and jokingly, and like just what he brings for that. And as a volleyball player, like, technically, like, we do have depth in the left side, which is good. But you start, like, Riley's not back, Jason's not back, Eric Lepke comes in. But, if all those guys are here, that's, 7-8 guys that are like, whoa, this is what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he is one of those original guys. Like, he's been there with that junior team, and we've been all together since, like I said, started 2010, 2011 with B team stuff. And so you do notice that he's not in the gym.
Yeah, definitely. I was always I've been saying for kind of a long time that his value was so much more than people ever saw, and I could always see that about how he was with the guys, how he was with the guys like off the court, at practice, on the bench, and I definitely think that he's going to be a guy that will be missed on the roster.
It's just shows, like we were talking about too, like how much we all know each other and how long we've been together. It's like anytime one of those guys is gone, it's like, it's noticeable, like, so
yeah,
you feel that for sure.
But when one Winnipeg man retires, then another one comes in with Eric Lepke, and he's kind of one of the highly touted, like the most highly touted to come out of the U Sports in a while. Probably maybe since Stephen Mara in the past few years. But how has he been gelling with the team? I know he's played before with the team, but this is kind of this first real big introduction to the senior A team.
Yeah, I think like he was sprinkled in a couple of years, even with Antigua. He played a couple tournaments with us, Hubert Wagner, before, call it 3-4 years ago even. But yeah, now he's like basically fully integrated there, and he's also, I don't know, he's pretty scary now. Like, if you knew him before, he's made some full season of playing in Italy, which is obviously a great experience, but like physically and whatever else he's been doing, it's pretty scary. So I don't know, he's going to take someone's head off, I swear. But it's good to have him, and just like a youthful guy who's there to learn, there to get better, and he's doing a lot. Like, I think offensively he'll really give us, and serving he'll give us like a big punch, like when we need it.
You've been with this team for arguably longer than anyone else. One of the longest standing members of this team. Where does this roster rank in terms of, the past decade of rosters with the men's national team? Maybe a little bit less, I guess.
Some guys might get mad at me here. Some old guys, but no, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if I can really, like, I want to say it's the best now.
It's early. I know I'm prompting you early, but
so like in the last few years, it's the best. But I mean, just if I think of how we're built, where, even in Rio, we were like same young and older guys, but some of the younger guys were, more of the guys playing, more of the guys out there. Obviously it's team sport and everyone is important, but just like in that sense of it. And now I don't know what's going to happen with, if it's young and old, or it's just, we have like experienced guys who are still playing at a really high level, and young guys who, like, I'm sure they're better than us when we came in. Like, there's no way when I joined the first team, like senior A team or whatever, that I look like Jordan right now. And I don't think when Gord or these guys join the senior A team that they look like Lepke does right now. Like, I'm not sure. So I think just all of it, like holistically, has just gotten a bit better. And even for, the older guys, like we're still trying to push ourselves and stuff. Not saying the old other guys weren't or anything, but it's just like, it's competitive in there. Like and as much as we all love each other, like each other, like it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath here for this VNL 14 and an Olympic 12-man roster. So
yeah, that's going to be tough. Like that's, I had a few people message me being kind of like, so who's the 12? Like, who are we cutting? And like, there's a lot of difficult decisions there. I kind of want to bring it back to, I have this memory of Blair Bann, and it's 2014 World League. And the matches are either in Vancouver. The matches were in Vancouver and Edmonton. I can't remember which one I saw you at, but you're not on the roster. Like, you're in the stands in like your civilian clothes. And I still remember, like the game was finishing up. I can't remember if we won or lost. And like you were already like heading out. And like once again, like you weren't on the roster. Fast forward 2 years later, and I'm talking to Dan Lewis, and he's telling me pre-Olympics, pre-decision, and Dan Lewis is telling me why Glenn's going to pick you to go to the Olympics and be on the roster. So what happened in between those 2 years when you were like not being picked as the libero, and not even kind of in the 14 to you're going to the Olympics, and now 5 years down the road you're an integral member of the squad and one of the top liberos in the world.
Ooh, what happened? I mean, like, if you think going back to 2014 in my memory, I'm thinking there's decisions that are made at that time based on maybe I wasn't ready, and then other younger, like Nick was coming up, and roster spots were allocated for maybe we're only bringing one libero, we're bringing extra left side. So now you're traveling the world for Nations League, and someone who is maybe a little bit more ready to help the team or isn't quite ready but might be like a really big piece sooner or later, I don't know. So I think that happened a couple of those years. Like they were only traveling one libero at that time when it was a 14-man roster. So you would have, like 2014 World Championships, I didn't go.
Yeah.
Only Dan went. And the Nations League before that, I was playing sparingly, some weekends, some not. 2015, I started going a little bit more, playing a little bit more. And then 2016 qualifying and World League, it was just, I don't know, it was just me and Dan basically going at it, playing good, playing our best. And it was a cool relationship, just the way we, we're rivals and pushing each other at the same time. And I think I didn't know it then, but I would know it now, and he would have known it then, that it was just like about being who could be the best for Canada at that moment. Maybe, it wasn't about like ego or me going or he going or anything like that. And that's something we're trying to pass on now to the team as well. Like it's, there's going to be some broken hearts, but it's, it's collectively for Canada who needs to be there. So whatever happened, I'm glad it did. But I think for me, it was just consistency a little bit. Like if I broke it down, I think those years, more games, more consistency. That's why it also is great for younger guys to get into VNL earlier too, I think. Because there's nothing, you can't compare anything. You can't compare drills or training with the A team as the actual thing, like playing against, some of the best volleyball countries in the world, like teams in the world. And now we're one of them and we're there and we have that training, but you still can't replicate going up against some of those teams. You have to go out and do it yourself.
We really saw this team succeed. Kind of 2017 was definitely the peak so far of this quad. That's when you guys got bronze at World League, and it seemed like the team was clicking at all levels. Do you think we're kind of looking like that team again?
I think that team had really nice, like, new infusion. Like Stefan came in, tons of new young, like new guys like Barnes, Show, Riley. You could name off a ton. You know what I mean? Like guys were coming in and it just like all that energy really added to that. Like it was just like new, it was exciting. And I think what I would say now about our group is I think we're just smarter and we're more mature, and we might have made some mistakes in the past where we, didn't ride that wave as much as, and we know we're probably going to play our best when we're feeling that way. So I think now maybe we got small blessing from that break and COVID situation and who knows what, but everyone's going to talk about this being a bubble and there being no fans at the games and all of this. And it's like kind of negative noise, but I mean, we're going to ride it. And like, we're going to have some guys on that court where when there's no fans, like you're going to hear us. And I think that's, that's going to help us a ton. And so I think this group could have the edge.
Yeah.
That group, but tack on like 3 years of like getting it going.
I mean, it's been like 4 years, 2017. Yeah. 2021. That's 4 years. That's a lot of experience, especially for a group who's, it's pretty much all the same guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you tack on mileage, which is one thing, and age, which it's a factor. But we're building a bit of a brand here for the Maple Volleys, and we want to show it now.
Yeah, how important, kind of as those other guys are coming in, you alluded to a little bit before, but how important is passing on that torch? Because I really found that the big difference to me was, between 2016 and 2017, you mentioned there's so much turnover. So many guys were lost from that team. Gavin, Fred, Simak, Lewis, all of these guys that had been there for so long, and it was a new generation. But it seemed like the leaders on the team did a really good job of making sure that the young guys coming in knew exactly what their culture was and knew exactly how, how like the Maple Volleys played and acted. So how important is that to instilling to guys like, Lepke and Pereira who are just coming in now?
I mean, I think it's changed a lot since then. And it's something we're like actively working on. Like even this morning, we had basically a meeting about stuff like that. So it's, it's ever changing to the team, to the group, to the personalities. But yeah, it's something that I feel like really strongly about, personally. And I think the rest of the group does too, is like helping out those guys, but also pushing those guys, but knowing that they're pushing you too. I think historically you kind of have a young guys and an old guys situation, and it's like kind of natural progression of things. But I mean, I like to think we're not really about that. You know what I mean? And, there might be some situations where that happens, like tomorrow some younger guys will carry some different bags or something like that. But
I mean, hey, Lepke might be playing in, the Italian league.
We're bringing so many bags to Italy that everyone will have an extra bag. So that doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yeah, that's something that, leadership guys on the team, older guys on the team, you want to put back, and hopefully those guys can take the good parts of that and then make it their own, and, even make it better for the next 10 years.
That's great. That's exactly what we kind of want. And I feel like that was almost what was missing before, and like when we were younger and before, you were on the national team back in 2007, I think we were ranked, or 2011, when everything started, we were ranked like 27th in the world, like losing games to Puerto Rico and the, Brazilian military team. And now now you guys are a top ranked team in the world and can legitimately play with anyone. And I think that culture was so important. I keep on getting friggin' robocalls, so I apologize to anyone who's listening. That's like the third one that I've gotten. This one was from Milpitas, California, USA. So thanks.
Answer it. Let's get him on the show.
So just to jump into Nations League, we've talked about the schedule. It's going to be a grind. But like, how do you think it's going to be with like kind of the new guys and like figuring out when the new guys are going to begin getting in against which teams? Because the tournament for you guys is very top heavy. You play, like, you start off with the States and it's a bunch of the top teams. So how do you think that's going to be decided? Is it going to be equal? Is it going to be more situational?
I mean, there's smarter people than me to figure that stuff out. But I think If I had to guess, I'd say situational or just testing different things out. Like that is the best part of VNL is, you can use it as a tool. Like I said, like my mentality and the team's mentality, we want to win games and we want to do things well. But as far as what the actual tactics of the group will be, the staff will figure that out. And I don't know, if a group gets hot and they start going on a streak, maybe they keep it going. But if it's getting a lot for different guys and there's a ton of science and different measurement stuff out there these days, so we're keeping track of guys' health and how they're feeling. But yeah, like the big one is after the VNL, so I'm not sure exactly how that will look, but I'm sure there will be some sort of method to keep it reasonable for everyone.
You guys, as I mentioned, your schedule is a bit of a banger schedule. You start off with the U.S.
You can't find an easy game. Like it doesn't matter where you start. Like you go through the whole list, you're not finding one team.
Absolutely not. Like Slovenia is a sneaky good team. They always have real good showings at the European Championships. Now they're going to be playing with the big boys. Germany always going to be strong. Poland, Russia, like no,
you can't find one.
You can't find one. Can we talk about Argentina? And is Argentina a bit of our kryptonite? Like, are they the one team that we just like don't match up well against? Because it seems like they've had our number on a number of occasions and a number of important occasions as well.
I mean, like the main one you'll think of Olympic qualification, obviously the first one there.
Yeah.
But then we beat them in the VNL that same year in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're strong and they're skilled and they play fast and they dig a ton of balls, and we're physical, and we can dig some balls and block some balls too. So I think, but Argentina won their pool in Rio. Like they're like they're like those, and they actually, I don't know, if you looked at all the rosters, I'm sure you'd find similarities, but that core group has been together for a long time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely not going out there saying anyone's our kryptonite, but I will say if we play strong against them and play like, I think in the qualifier, we were like a hesitant team, big pressure moment. And maybe like certain things got away from us, but hopefully we've worked out those strategies now that things like that won't happen anymore, but they always could. But definitely, I think they're like I would call them a headache team for anyone, because just their style of play, fast and super skilled and great at defense and long rallies.
They're a country that has so much depth, and that we've seen so many different iterations of their national team over the years, just because they have so many guys. But you're very much right. Like that first generation of guys with Soleil and Facundo Conte and De Checo, like that's a pretty damn good lineup out there. But I definitely agree. Like if you go down the lineup, there's the potential of beating legitimately every single team, and you guys have beat every single team. Is there one game in particular that you always look forward to playing as? Is there one team that you love matching up against?
I mean, you like playing against the States because it's the States.
Yeah, it's always like the fact that we're getting a Canada versus USA banger.
Yeah. Right off the hop. Yeah.
Right off the hop. It's noon Eastern time. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I have a Discord for Volleyball Source, and it's pretty international. So we're already throwing down. We're already going to be doing a live voice chat for it, and there's Americans in there too. So there's going to be a lot of shit talking. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then I mean, like when I first started with the team, like anytime you played against Brazil, it was kind of like, whoa, and like I think now that we've played more and we've gotten better and we've beat those teams before, you don't have that whoa factor anymore. But those are big teams in the volley. Like they've been top 3 in the world for a long time. If you look Brazil, USA. So I mean, those are we can think strongly about us too, but those are the guys who have been there, and like you want to knock those guys down.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think this team has that ability? Are we going to be knocking some teams down at VNL this year?
We're knocking heads this year. We're putting the head down and we're going through the wall.
Is it kind of like, are you guys going to be employing like a grinder mentality? Is that what we're going for here?
I think it's kind of in us. Like that's when we play our best ball. Everyone's kind of just going for everything and scrapping it out. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not, but it's definitely an identity thing that I like to infuse, and I think the other guys get behind that too.
Do you feel that like you guys over the years have established a style of like volleyball that is distinct to Canada and distinct to the way that you guys play, and that potentially you guys bring that to your pro teams as well?
I'm not sure for all the other pro teams. Like I know for some of us that play together, or like I played this year with Van Berkel, and like we were definitely trying to bring that mentality to overseas. You don't always have that. It's more of a job sometimes when you're playing pro. And I don't like thinking of volleyball as just a job. Like I like to be there, have a team, have a culture, bunch of boys working towards the same thing. So I like to bring that to my pro teams as well. It helps if you stay in the same place for a long time, obviously. But yeah, I think if you ask, like when I talk to spectators or friends and family, when we play our best, and obviously it's important games, like when we qualified and stuff like that, they say like the first thing they say is like, you guys look like you're having a blast out there. You know what I mean? And it's like you're really going. And that's easy to say because that probably is what it looks like when you're winning. But we're trying to do that even in tough moments, even when you're losing. And if we lose and we want to, can't sulk. We got, like you said, 3 games. We got the game the next night, so we gotta bring that identity. And the more you work on that, the more you train like that, it's just easy to get. Like you said, that's our ball. So it's not like we're needing to find something anywhere. It's like that's just how we do it, like in training and in matches.
Yeah, as we've said before, this schedule is absolutely gnarly. 3 straight games, 3 days off. Another 3 straight games, 3 days off. Like even club kids would have a hard time with that. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. Speaking of professional volleyball, you just signed a contract with Friedrichshafen of the German Bundesliga. You've been in the Bundesliga for quite some time. Spent a few years there, all with Duren, yeah.
Yeah.
But now you are going to be heading over to Friedrichshafen. They are the one of the perennial powers in the Bundesliga. Coach Mark Lebedew is heading over, the Aussie head coach. How are you excited to be heading back to the Champions League and going to be competing with one of the big names of CEV volleyball?
Yeah, no, I'm pumped for it. And Lucas Van Berkel is also coming, which is sweet.
Oh, Van Berkel's coming too?
You might have to edit that out.
Okay.
But maybe not. It might not matter. But anyways, yeah, like I'm looking forward to that. Like 7 years in Durham.
7 years.
7 years.
Oh.
Arguably our best season last year. Like actually a very similar feeling there to Team Canada, just in the sense of a lot of the same guys. I played 5-6 years with 7 or 8 of those guys, and it was the exact same team from the year before. But yeah, there was a younger German guy there that is doing well, and he'll kind of take over there. And I was able to move on to Friedrichshafen and join a Champions League team. And it's a change of scenery. It's going to be good. I'm really excited for it. You need that sometimes.
What would you say? Sorry.
I just said like the change will be. I'm looking forward to it because like 7 years in the same place is a long time. So it's nice to get a new place.
Are they going to have a new stadium by then?
They were playing this year in kind of like I don't know what to call it, like a convention center that essentially doubles as a stadium. And they're, I think, staying in there as well. Because, yeah, that gym they had, which was pretty iconic gym, and there for a long time and had a lot of games in it, and was just breaking. So they had to find a new home, but they did.
I heard it was like the gnarliest thing where like basically they did an inspection one day and it was just like, oh no, like there's like rust or whatever and we need to knock the whole place down, and by the end of the week it was gone.
Yeah, I don't know the full stories, but it was something like that, like safety inspection, and this place could go at any time, so you're not here anymore. And they quickly found a new home, and luckily it wasn't just a small fix up gym, because we had no fans, so it might not have mattered. But you like to play in a big good place, and next year hopefully there will be some fans, and it should act as a good arena.
Now, like as we mentioned, Friedrichshafen is a Champions League team. They are it's the upper echelon of European volleyball. do you feel maybe you don't care about this stuff, but do you feel that maybe you're a little bit underrated because you never played for one of the big clubs in Europe and never really got to showcase your talents on on that level? You did the one time at Chaumont, but even the French league is a little smaller stature than Germany or of course Poland and Italy, Russia.
Yeah, I wouldn't say underrated thing. It's just harder to I mean, foreign rules and stuff, and like kind of every year you go, okay, what's the goal? Poland or Italy. Okay, we'll see the spots. The spots are there. The spots aren't there. Maybe there's 2-3 spots. See who they're looking at. Get on a team's list. Maybe you get it. No, another guy got it. Okay, no problem. You stick around in France or Germany where there isn't such strong foreign leagues. And if I went way back to the very beginning and I could have made some choices differently in the career, maybe I would have. But also, like, I will never. Like, I gained so much from staying in Durin and friends and family. My girlfriend is from there. All of it's I wouldn't change any of that. Now, playing in one of those leagues would be awesome, and who knows, maybe there's still some chance.
Hey, you're a libero. You've got a lot of legs left in you.
Yeah, I go too hard, man. My knees are starting to hurt. I'm diving too much. But no, let's. I would have loved to have been in one of those leagues. And I still would, but I definitely don't. If anything, I'll just add it onto my shoulder and just say, "All right, guys, I didn't make any of those leagues, but let's see what Bann can do."
I mean, I'm sure once it's all said and done, the boys at Kitts Beach will welcome you back with open arms.
I mean, if you go top leagues, you go Italy, Poland. Third is Kitts Beach.
Third is Kitts Beach. You heard it here first.
So I gotta get back there, especially last year. No summer, no back there, like no Van Open.
Dude, Van Open is gonna be once Van Open comes back, it is gonna be it's gonna be a scene.
But that's the cool thing that happens a little bit. Like, obviously the Corona situation and everything has its downfalls, but when whatever happens and you can get going again, like, it's like, oh, we had same for national team. We had a full year break from national team. Now we're gunning to go. Okay, Van Open had a year break, maybe a 2-year break.
No, it's gonna be a 2-year break with how slow things are going here.
Yeah, but then you get it going. That's gonna be a good time.
That is gonna be a good time. Are you gonna play in it again, or are you just gonna be a spectator?
I mean, even when I'm playing, I'm kind of a spectator, but no, I mean, I would love to be back in Vancouver for summer, or sometimes in summer, play as much as I can, whether it's just heading down to the challenge court or playing in a tournament competitively. I would always play.
How was it for you to win that berth in Vancouver? You spent so much time there at UBC. Like, what was it like winning it in front of those people?
That was pretty fun. I mean, that was really fun because there was a lot, like, whatever, call it 4,000 or 5,000 people maybe at that last game. I'm not sure, but it was close to that probably. And, I'd probably crossed paths or recognized a lot of them, like a lot of people from UBC or national team stuff, or just people that, I mean, obviously a lot of people there are volleyball people. So if you're in and around Trinity Western, UBC, like, a lot of those, you cross paths with a lot of those people. And, I was nervous at first because it's like, oh, you have Olympic qualification where everyone knows you, and, hopefully you do well. But, kind of put that aside and just, realize everyone's there, like, to support us, to support me. And yeah, I just remember last point, Team Selly, get the big Tokyo head, and then I had a group of guys, like, in the corner. You might have even been close by, if I recall.
Maybe. It's
but just a group of buddies, yeah, a little fuzzy, but a group of buddies who were also a little bit fuzzy, and just jumping in there with them. And then Gord came over because he knew a bunch of them too, and we were just, like, all jumping around together. It was like a great moment. So yeah, it was really cool. And now that was to qualify, and now we got a year break, and hopefully those same people are going to be watching us in Tokyo, and gotta make them proud again,
buddy. Yeah, I mean, they will. And
yeah.
It was such a great moment, especially because historically, we haven't really done that well on home soil. Like, if you look at the NORCECA Championships, just that fall, losing to Cuba in the semifinals.
Yeah.
You go to the first Olympic qualifiers back in 2016 where we lost to Cuba. Pan Am Games, losing to Argentina. Like, historically, Team Canada has not done well on Canadian soil, and it like that one was so special because not only like in the way you did it, but you kind of got the monkey off of your backs in that scenario, playing in front of one of the best crowds that we've seen in years.
Yeah, I mean they've done really good in the VNL stuff lately. Like when we play in Ottawa, like it gets going in there too. But yeah, I would say like that crowd that night, especially because you're down 2-0, like you could just lose it. Like it's not like you get these fans in Germany that they'll clap all from first whistle to the end. It doesn't, or there's a fan club, but we start losing and the crowd gets a little bit quiet. But when we turn it up in the third set and get going, like it was rocking in there. It was great.
I won't lie. Third set is kind of when the me and the Kid Speech boys started chirping Lopez.
Yeah, it was all you guys.
That's you know what, Seymour. We all know him and love him. He's been doing some of the beach podcasts with me. He was right there with me, and we were going hard. And I think we got under their skin. Like there was definitely a shift kind of in that third
totally.
set. And you could feel the momentum change and the energy in that building changed.
Yeah.
It was really special.
Yeah, like, I mean, we've gone over this a lot and having different calls or talking with friends, and they always ask, like, what happened, what changed? And I don't know. I think we just kind of stuck to the plan, like it's not like anything crazy. And the first two sets were close. Maybe we were not feeling as free, but, kind of when we opened up that third and really got out in front, and you start seeing the wheels spin on, some subs coming in from Cuba. It's not going great. And then, you go into a fifth set, obviously anything could happen. But we, like it just literally turned. And like, you went from playing a really close game to just being super free and like, we got to do this. We got to do this. We have to do this. And we did it.
Yeah. All of a sudden you guys started blocking balls. Nick Hogue came in and started being an absolute weapon, like vintage Nick Hogue scenario.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like you guys could do no wrong. It was truly one of the best games I've ever seen the team play. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's down 0-2, winning 5 at home. You're going to the Olympics. That's tough to beat. That's real tough to beat. That's
literally like what like stories are written about, especially for a guy like you who played his university ball.
Exactly.
Or a guy like Sclater, who was like the top ranked guy for basketball, chose volleyball instead in his hometown, going off the way he did.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the stuff? Like, is it those moments that fuel you?
I don't think I really realize them until after they're done, like in that moment, like, we're pretty focused on what we want to do and, what we're there to do. And there's, I'm thinking it's, my parents are there, it's hometown, but you don't really realize it all until afterwards, I think. So, I mean, of course it's important, but it's kind of afterwards that you like look back and you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely one that you'll remember forever. Hopefully, maybe along with another one that could come to Tokyo.
Yeah, let's get some.
There is, however, like, there is has been some rumors about how the Japanese people aren't too happy about the Olympics coming in with everything. Is that something that kind of worries you, that they might get canceled?
I mean, it doesn't really worry me, not in the sense that I don't think it couldn't happen, but it's just, what can you do? All we can do is train and hope to be there, and be as prepared as possible. You'll see some news article here or there. They pulled X amount of people, this amount don't want it. It's kind of noise in my opinion. So, and it's they're valid points from them or from whatever it is, but it's out of our control, and so we'll just do our job and hopefully we'll be there.
Speaking of the Olympics, you guys were there in 2016, and how important is that experience going to be to kind of be able to come into that event and like kind of keep your heads down to get the result that you're looking for?
Yeah, the experience wise, I think Rio was just so brand new for everyone, and then we talked about different things or distractions or this and that, but you can't really prepare for that, so you just gotta, maybe you talk about it and then you go and you experience it, and then we can have it in our back pocket now in Tokyo. I think, again, there will be just different versions of that now with how the games are supposed to be ran, like no fans, and there'll be strict protocols here and there and stuff. So again, it's just, you go there with a goal, and you set yourself up to do what you got to do to make that happen. And that's kind of what each guy works on individually and the team as a group.
Realistically, like, is that goal the gold medal? Like, is that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
That's good.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, Jay kind of said it earlier. It's, like, do you want to, you don't really want to train all day, like basically give your life to volleyball, to go to the biggest tournament that you're going to play and participate, and like, results aren't the most important thing at all times. But in this scenario, you're pushing yourself to get that goal. And if you don't, okay, but you did a lot of work to like make yourself better at things and as a person. And so that's that's the top of the mountain. You want to be there.
What needs to happen between now and then? Because obviously, you probably couldn't go out tomorrow and win the Olympics. What needs to happen as a team to or like, hey, tell me otherwise, please.
I just mean, everyone's in the same boat right now. Everyone's getting their gears going.
I guess you're right. You're
who's a little grittier
right
than the others. No, but I know what you're saying.
But yeah, like what's got to happen?
I think we're going to fine tune things. Like Jay was talking about the offense. I think if our team is serving well, it's going to give us, we've always kind of block defense, offense is doing well. If we can ramp up the serving is, in my opinion, what's going to keep us with those top teams and put us in chances to win those big games. Whether you're talking getting out your pool, getting into a quarterfinal, winning a semifinal, winning a final. That serving aspect, I think, was really big. Serve and reception, obviously. But yeah, just adding small things into our game. Like, everyone has made a lot of strides, I think, in this last year. Like, you'll see it right away. Like, okay, guys are getting going now. Guys have been training for a week. We're going into VNL, but you'll see it through the VNL. But even just from being with the guys who've been here for a week, you can just tell they're stronger. Like, Sclater is stronger. Show is stronger. There's competition within every position. So guys are going to be like focused, dialed, trying to do their thing. So just those small details, I think. If I said it about like a skill, it would be getting our serving going. And then from there, it's just, staying consistent, because, like, you'll see, I think that's what makes the best teams. Like, you can't really go on runs against them. Like, they're just too good. And then you create your own runs. So that's what we want to do.
Do you think the Maple Volleys are more of an offensive or defensive minded team?
Hybrid. Like, I think we have tons of options in offense. And I think then, like if you compare us to Argentina, I don't think we're digging those balls. But, between the block and, guys not being scared of taking one off the shoulder and someone ping pongs a ball to the outside and, Mar comes flying in and does something, like, that's where we get those transition points. That's what I was kind of saying. It's not so clean, maybe. From the old teams, I think this team in the last years or now is more offensive than we've been before. Like, there are options everywhere. And then, like, you had Gav. Gav was a huge part of the offense.
Massive.
And then Gordon, Nick. But, like, those guys are just getting stronger and better. And, like, if they're maybe not that, like, peak, like, strength or whatever you want to call it, which arguably they could be, they're, like Jay said, like, more shots, more savviness or something. Now you got Show. Show is Gav 2.0 with probably a stronger shoulder and probably higher. And blocking is like, Show is a triple block by himself. It's the only way to beat him is, I'm not going to say it because then other teams will watch this, but it's like crazy. It's crazy. Like, and then, Schlater plays faster. He's stronger, new dynamic. You can't help in the middle. Art is spiking middle balls over the antenna. We have, I think we might've been a more block defense team before. Now it could still be better at that, but it's the offensive punch it can really be there.
I'm gonna ask you, and I mean you don't have to answer for him, but I'm very relieved to hear that show is doing good, because if you're a fan of this show, you know that like he had a rough year this year in Perugia and very rarely saw the court,
Mhm.
and I personally think that you don't go from scoring 309 points in a shortened season the year before to going to scoring 13, and that's all in your end. So I
Yeah.
really I think that the world is going to be able to see what Shawan Vernon Evans can do once again
He,
in this VNL.
well, just the way he is, like, it's like, okay, that obviously sucks, but I don't think he slouched his head and shut down. I think he worked out and he did some things. And at the end of the day, if maybe the situation, you're not going in, you're just there to improve yourself and basically probably set himself up to be his best here now for us. And like same thing as maybe some of the foreign libero thing, like put a little chip on the shoulder, like, okay, I didn't play. This guy got to play over me. This guy got to play over me. Now we're at VNL. Now we're at the Olympics. Let's go.
I definitely agree, and I've been saying that as well, that his demeanor off the court, like you could see him, like Leon's is posting on Instagram, like going to barbershops with show and stuff like that in Perugia. But then every time he did come in for Perugia, you could see that the team enjoyed his presence as well. So I could definitely tell that he was still being the positive guy that he is. So I'm very stoked.
He's going to be an absolute monster, like an absolute monster.
There we go. That's
Absolute
it.
monster.
You guys heard it
Awesome.
here first, because it's been a while since we've had a show.
Yeah, it's going to be. Everyone likes the big guy who can smash, and they're gonna see a lot of that.
How much fun is it for you to play on a team like this where there's so many different offensive options and so many different?
Not that fun. I get hit by the ball every time. What are you talking about?
Well, in practice, but like in games, like does that change your approach? Because obviously, like the blocking and defensive scheme is going to be different if you've got Sclater in the front row as opposed to Show. So how much are you aware of that, and how much are you preparing like yourself to go through that?
Yeah, I mean, you'll have different, based on guy's strength or whatever, you'll set up somewhere. Even if you have a smaller middle, they might run more through him. But I mean, just to speak to the fun side of it, it's, if I get a ball off the floor or someone else gets the ball, like, we make a nice dig or we get a touch and, we can get the ball in a good spot, basically anywhere. The guys have the tools to score the point. It's not always, it's a little bit different in international because there's a lot of strong players everywhere. But sometimes if you are playing smart in pro and stuff, they might not be able to get out of a high ball situation, or they might not be able to get a fastball from a weird, ping pong deflection dig or something. But like in our group, just the way we go, it's it can kind of be anyone, and they can maybe recycle, like they can all do everything. So it's like it's pretty fun.
When I talked to TJ, he talked to me about kind of the difference of how he views the pro game versus the national team game, and how you guys approach it differently. Whereas the pro game, you're playing all of these different teams, and there's so much turnover that it really comes down to more like the athletic plays and the athleticism. Whereas on the national team, it's much more systematic, and it's much more of that chess match of how to match up against the other teams. Is that something that you take into account too, or is that just kind of like the setter's perspective?
No, I'd agree with that. Like, I mean, you're hopefully trying to get that going into pro, but sometimes, like you said, you're playing the one team 2 times in the year. Maybe you'll play them again in the playoffs. So those matchups, they can change quite a bit. But and then you have, well, it's longer season, but arguably less time, or maybe you're not so into systematic development. Like you come back and you pick up on the same foot that you left off last summer, like we do in the national team. So, I mean, even for us, like we know what we want to do, but there's still stuff like we're trying to add or see, like, can we change this and maybe create not a new system, but like new things to add in that, will help us generate more points or give us more chances to block defense or something like that. But definitely that approach on the national team is pretty good. And it's just getting harder with all the teams because teams are getting stronger, teams play faster. So, like when I first started, it was pretty much like stand here, the block's going to stand here, and you stand outside of that, and now you dig those balls. But now it's like, okay, there's guys coming out of every direction. There's a hole here. That set, you can't tell if it's going to the middle or the outside. What's going on? These guys are throwing balls everywhere. They're spiking balls everywhere. It's chaos. So we're trying to adapt the systems to like kind of the current game.
Do you think the throwing of the balls is going to be in the game much longer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greatest play in all of volleyball.
Really, even from a libero point of view.
Yeah, but it's libero who's really good at it. So
we're not talking about short court here. We're talking about in the games. Like you.
No, it's I mean, it's a hot topic, obviously, but and some of them are on the limit or past the limit. But what's the difference between being athletic and fast touch on the ball? Okay, some of these, like, I throw it in, I go two hands and I launch it out.
Yeah,
like those are gone, because now you'll have challenge and you'll just challenge no touch and they'll be like, what? And then they'll look at it and you'll see so the throws are probably gone.
Okay.
Because
good.
I think you can just challenge it and you can see that the guy wiping threw it out of bounds last. Now, if it's like, it's harder to see, but you know which ones I'm talking about. You watch enough volleyball to like, okay, the ball's there. I threw it in. Now I threw it out. I think teams will just challenge no touch and you'll see that the offensive guy threw it out. But some of this, like on the line, left into the middle, I mean, it's just an athletic play, fast contact with the hand. It's just like, it's a one hand set, just the other way. So the guys, sometimes they're really dunking it. Now that's up to interpretation, but I think it's here to stay because it's just the way the game's going. You're playing fast. You can't always full extension spike everything. So you got to start dunking balls, and it's awesome.
I'm just picturing the Gord left-hand dunk in my head, and Gord's the best of just letting that ball pass by the blockers, go but down into the seam between the antenna and the block, and just putting it down with a left.
Like the times it looks illegal is just kind of when the super athletic guys do it, or the super high. You know what I mean? You get some of these smaller left sides and they're, chincing shots or poking balls. Like it kind of just looks like a small guy play, but you get guys like Gordon, the ball's coming. And then, all of a sudden this tip is like vertical. There's no over the block play. It's just boom. I get why people don't like it, but
I mean, I'm fine with those ones. It's just the chuck and throws that,
you'll see, like we've in the years before, like it was kind of, I think teams just weren't onto it or they were scared to challenge it because, what do you challenge? You're going to an umpire and you say no touch and he's kind of looking at you like, what do you mean no touch? Like the guy just make the block, and he's like, okay, yeah, our blocker touched it, but the last touch was actually the guy who's throwing it out of bounds. So that one will be interesting. Well, you have to just see who's ahead of the curve and who's willing to run the risk of taking a challenge, or if guys just start pulling their hands and guys start throwing balls out of bounds. So
how is Gord's how is it playing defense against Gord right now? Because he was a little bit injured going back to 2019. He definitely wasn't his healthiest self, but I feel like he's one guy who really benefited from the time off during last summer because he lit up the Russian league this year. And obviously you've been defending a lot of his shots. How is it playing against defense against Gord? Do we got vintage Gord back?
Yeah, I think so. He's lurking around here somewhere. He might hear his name and pop down. No, he's like you said, the Russian, you've had a great season. And yeah, since we've been back here, it's, not dealing with any type of injury. You know what I mean? He's playing healthy. Like, of course, we all have our bumps and bruising, but he's playing healthy. He's just smart. Like, he just sees line and he twists it line, or like he has the ability to go up and go outside the middle sharp, or he sees the hole. He plays fast from different times, or he plays super high. So he just like chips hands sometimes. Like he's just smart. He can do everything, like if you've been playing at this level in pretty much every big league in the world against all the best players in the world for 10 years, you get pretty good at a thing or two. So no, I pick him up sometimes, but he's right. It's hard to kind of figure him out. I get the blockers going against him more than the defenders.
It's going to be really like it's tough to even say like who is going to be like a quote unquote starter for the VNL because there's so much depth there, and then there's so many different looks. Like especially on the left side, you guys can kind of run through all 5 of the guys on the left side,
Yeah.
almost plug and play.
Yeah. I mean, they all kind of bring different stuff to some degree. But you look at Nick, Mar, Gord, who are kind of going to do everything, and are just big physical guys. And then you have Lepke and Steve, who are, going to control the ball, going to be crafty, going to play fast, going to do different things that still also at like a pretty physical level. It'll just depend on matchups and what you need versus different teams.
It's going to be exciting. How about for you? Like, are you looking forward to playing at that level again? Like, is there certain things that you need to work on playing at that level again, like transferring from the pro league to national team?
Yeah, I think just you get back here and you just realize it's like, oh, guys are spiking hard, guys are spiking high, guys are serving hard. So it takes a bit of time for me, kind of every year, to if I'm playing in my Bundesliga games and stuff, and you don't see the same. You play Berlin, you play for yourself, and they have some of the bigger name national team guys sometimes. But that's not every game, and that's not in training every day at this consistency. Like, there's still great players in the league. But here it's like every guy in every position, can serve at an international level and can spike at an international level. So, now it's not just getting a good read, being in a good spot. I got to worry about, sometimes they can hit over the block. Sometimes, the serves are dropping from different angles that I'm not used to seeing. Guys can normally serve all directions instead of, maybe just 5-6 or one side of the court. So getting used to the speed and just, kind of being ready that more can happen is a transition that I go through normally every year.
How many years do you think you got left in you, like playing for the national team? Are you going to be one of those guys that, like, is Lewis, who plays all the way until the end, or is there going to be a point where you're just playing professionally? Like, well, what do you have you thought about that at all, or are you just kind of riding that wave as long as you can?
Definitely crosses my mind, but like right now, it's all different factors, situations. I could definitely see myself still going. You know what I mean? And that just at the same time, I could see myself moving into something else. Obviously volleyball related, but
you sticking around. You be a coach or something.
I just mean like still playing. Just right now, I'm liking what's going on. So it's it's really hard for me to, like, personally, for me to say, like, this is my last dance or something like that. You know what I mean? It would never be like that. It would just kind of be like, I'd have to make that decision later or something like that. I'm not ready to make that decision yet. So we'll see. Could be a few more.
like, are we looking at Paris 2024? Like, is that a possibility? Like, is that in the cards?
Three-time Olympian sounds pretty good. But there
is no Canadian volleyballers who are 3-time Olympians.
Yeah, I might have known that too. So
okay.
might be on the list. But yeah, we'll just see. I'm taking it like basically a year at a time, and I'll have to double check what my summer schedule can look like with my girlfriend. But I don't know if she'll watch this.
Are you going to get a round of Jort court in this year? Is that in the cards?
If we can, it's got to be in the cards. I'm not sure what the end of the summer will look like for, like you said, there's a Norseca and all that. And
I don't even know when it is. Do you know when it is? Like,
it's supposed to be in Canada, end of August.
Oh, it's in Canada, end of August.
In Gatineau, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, then I'll see you there. That's great.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Supposed to be, right? Like everything is these days. But yeah, so if you're ending national team in September, Jort court gets a little hard. If some things aren't happening and there's some August time in your life, Jort court gets pretty possible.
Yeah, that would be fun. It's another one of those things like the Van Open that we've just haven't had because of did you guys have it last year?
No, there was no jort court last year. There was a push for it, but it was a logistical nightmare, to say the least.
Yeah, I bet. How important has jort court been over the years for your training for the Olympics?
Probably the most important thing.
That's what I thought.
that mental break is really what sets you up to be able to push for the gold medal.
And I mean, hey, aren't you guys going to be wearing denim on denim for one of the ceremonies at the Olympics? Jort court is right there in there with the uniform.
Already prepped for it. We're already ready for that.
I think you should rock those out when you guys come out of the tunnel. Just go rogue from what the COC gives you, and just rock the jort court shorts.
I mean, I haven't seen that jacket, so it is pretty close. But it's the Canadian tuxedo. Like looks good on everyone.
Yeah, I guess you can't really mess around with that look.
No.
Yeah. So how much time you guys got like before you leave for Italy? Like it's got to be pretty imminently.
Yeah, we're flying tomorrow morning. So we got Ottawa, Toronto, Frankfurt, Bologna, another Italian city, small bus ride, boom, Rimini.
Wow, that's a who set up that schedule? Is Frank still around? Like, what's Frank doing over there?
We have a new Frank named Cass. She's great.
Okay.
But first year this year, so that's also a tough task to take on. But I don't think she set that up. I think they got some travel agents or stuff like that. But I think it is what it is. It's COVID travel, and we'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there. Do you guys have like a Normatex or anything to keep those legs fresh while you're there?
We got some stuff. Yeah, we got some tech.
I'm a little like, is there any notion if you guys are going to be able to watch some of the women's games? Like, is that a thing, or like how's that working?
To be honest, I don't know. I know there is a document available that you could read.
You just chose not to. I understand. I would never read it.
I'm staying focused on my task.
You're not there to read documents.
From what I've heard, the guys teams and the girls teams are they're both in Rimini, but they're at different places. And then I'm not sure if they're playing in the same venues. I think they have some sort of one of these like convention center things that are now made into courts. But
that's what I'm gathering.
I don't think the paths will cross that much, and I don't think it'll just be, hey, we're Team Canada. Can we go watch Team Canada women? Like, I don't think that. I don't know. Maybe you could put in a request and follow transports, health and safety protocols, get into a game, but
it seems like a bit of a stretch.
There's some tough. I don't want to strict reprimanded here. Yeah. There's some tough protocols.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that they've got you guys going to be tested every single day.
You guys will be happy to know we get, I think, an hour of pool and I think beach time per day, though.
Okay.
They'll be happy to know that. And I think we get our own space and get out, get some sun, get some activity in.
All right. That's not bad.
It's not. I don't think we're confined to our rooms. What I know.
Do you think you guys are going to be training much in between, or is those going to be like some strictly rest days? Like, because it seems to me like if you guys went all the way through, like practice every single day, that might be a bit much on the old body.
Yeah, from regular VNL schedule, you would typically have the 3 days on, travel day, possible rest day, then you'd have 2-3 days to kind of get going again. But again, what does that look like? Because you're about to go into 3 more games in a row. So I think there will be on-court time those 3 days that you're off. Now, will they look like a typical practice? Probably not. For some guys, maybe, if they didn't play, we'll let the coaches earn their money here. Like it'll be tough. You had a big group. You're not used to traveling with that big of a group, and you'll have like 6 guys every game, not even dressed. So there will be, you'll want, maybe if those guys aren't dressed, maybe it's for 3 days. Like maybe they're practicing after or before, so there will be tons of stuff to figure out once we get there. Basically just trying to stay healthy the whole time is the priority.
How good is it for you guys, the fact that you guys get to play all of those teams? Like literally heading into the Olympics, you're going to have played all of those teams only a few months before.
Yeah, I mean, we've some guys, I'm sure, or other guys have already been doing work, like looking at some of those teams. Like we know our pool, we know the schedule, stuff like that. So but getting to play them now, there will probably be some sort of chess match between the coaches for sure, like who you're playing at the Olympics and but at the same time, there's so many games, there's so many scouts, there's so much video out there, like you can't really hide anything. So then it'll just be like, we're playing them, we're seeing them. Now who can, bring the best game and be the most prepared when the time comes.
All right. Well, I look forward to it. You guys kick off the VNL tournament just in 6 days on May the 28th, noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. The games are going to be streamed live on cbcsports.ca. So if you're in Canada or know how to use a VPN, you can watch all of the Canadian games on cbcsports.ca. Of course, we'll have that link. You linked into that on the website. Otherwise, if you want to watch all of the tournament, like the tournament's going to be gnarly. 8 games a day for 30 days.
Yeah, it's just pure volleyball madness. It's amazing.
It's my eyes might rot themselves.
That's good for you. You better
out of my head.
Get some caffeine. I want to see like full analysis of everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I gotta make some dollars here as well. But guys, if you haven't bought your pass for the Volleyball World TV yet, do it, because as I said, 8 games a day. It's going to be gnarly. You're going to see this guy go off for 15 of those days. I mean, maybe 12, let's say. Well, we got to give you a few games off.
I'll take what I can get. Ready to go anytime. I understand that.
Yeah.
Other guys.
I mean, hey, like once again, August is the goal, but. Man, the VNL is going to be sick. I hope you guys stay. I hope you stay healthy and happy in the process. I know it's going to be a big one. But yeah, I'm stoked for it. I'm just stoked to watch you guys play again. It's been so long.
Yeah, it feels long for us too. So it's like the fans or spectators or anyone hasn't seen it. And last memory was the positive one of the qualification. So we got to make some more of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything we haven't covered today? Is there anything you feel the need to talk about?
No, not really. I think that we went through a lot there. That was pretty damn good.
Yeah, we went through a lot of stuff there. We had some a guest appearance there, and So what's next? You guys just chilling for the rest of the night, getting ready to head out in the morning. You guys leave first thing in the morning?
Yeah, airport 9:30, I think. So something like that. Nothing too crazy. Nothing. Getting good breakfast in and hit the road. But yeah, cleaning, packing. That's what we did for Gatineau here. We're here for 3 weeks and don't know when or if we're coming back this summer, but planning on. So we're just packing up, buckling up, and getting ready to go.
All right. Well, dude, thanks so much for taking the time to come chat with me today, and best of luck. Safe travel tomorrow, and we'll be catching you next week. I'm stoked.
Right on.
Awesome.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks a lot, guys.